everybody. It's Amy. How are you? Hopefully you can see me well, because I can't see you because I'm driving. And yes, I can talk and drive at the same time. Not text and drive, but I can talk. Okay, tomorrow is my, I think, 14 weeks. So I'm not going to do my weigh-in until tomorrow, even though I did weigh this morning. But I wanted to talk for just a minute on my way to school about weight loss surgery and being afraid of it. I was afraid. I mean, it's natural. It's a major surgery. It's not just going to the dentist for something, a cleaning, or, you know, it's major. It's, I had a lot done too, so that's part of the reason why I was so nervous. I had 2 hernias fixed and 2 hernias, the sleeve, and my gallbladder removed. So that was a lot at once. The surgeon wasn't even sure he would do the second hernia, because the first one he had to do because it was a hiatal hernia, so he had to fix that to fix my stomach, to cut my stomach. But the other one he wasn't sure he'd be able to do, because he was afraid it would be too much for me. But then when he said he saw it, he said it was too big not to do something about. So that's why he did it. He didn't put mesh in it or anything. He just sewed it up. So that's where those little 5 stitches at the bottom came from, if you saw my 11 stitches video. 11 incision video. So anyway, I just wanted to talk for a minute about being afraid. Yes, it's very normal to be afraid of surgery. And I was the whole way down there. My fiance's driving, and I'm thinking to myself, and I even said once to him while we were going over the mountain, that all I had to do was just turn around. That's all I had to do. Just turn around, call the doctor's office on my cell phone and say, I'm sick, or something. I mean, like, there could be a ton of reasons I could give, so that if I wanted to do it later, I could. Tons of reasons. But there were several that made me go through with it. One, I couldn't lose weight any other way. I felt like this was my last resort. This was my last chance to get this weight off. 2, I talked to Tanya O'Rourke a couple of times via Facebook messaging, and she was awesome. I watched her videos over and over. I watched Jennifer Bleacher's videos over and over. There's several other people's videos that I was watching, and they just, talking to Tanya that day really made me realize that yes, I was afraid, but if I didn't go through with it, I wouldn't have my story. I wouldn't have my, I wouldn't be able to say, I'm so glad I did it, I'd do it again, and I say that now. I can absolutely 100% say that right now, that I'm glad I did and I would do it again. Now, another thing that got me through, other than my family being supportive, was I kept thinking to myself, even while I was sitting in the room that they get you prepped for surgery before I went back, even while sitting there, I was thinking, and I even said out loud to my fiance again, I said, I could just walk out. I could take this IV out and we could just leave and not do it. And he said, well, I'm not going to let you do that. And I said, why not? He said, because I know how badly you want this. And I said, yeah, I do. And the thing that kept me going when I would have those minutes or moments of, oh my goodness, am I sure I want to do this? Even my anesthesiologist asked me before he did anything for me, are you sure? And I said, yes, I'm sure. And I had to be there at 5:30 in the morning, I think it was, for a 7:30 surgery. Between 4 and 5 and 5:30, I can't remember which. And I kept thinking, our 7:30 surgery, I should be out by 10 o'clock, you know, because even though you go back at 7:30, surgery doesn't actually start at 7:30. It takes time to prep you and get you asleep and all that stuff. And I thought, I'll be out by 10:30. At noon today, I will have a good amount of recovery behind me, possibly be getting up to my room for the 2 days. And then, if I don't do it, what am I going to be doing at noon today? I'm going to be eating lunch, give or take. And I'm going to be so mad at myself and so depressed and so disappointed that I had my surgery day. I've been through 12 years of wanting this surgery. I had my day. I was approved by my insurance. And fear beat me. And I didn't want fear to beat me, because then I would be so mad. I would be in a depression that I don't know how to come out of. I mean, I'm sure I would have, but I just know that I would have been so disappointed and so sad and so mad because I let fear win over me. And that's the whole reason that I wanted to do this. I'm tired of letting stuff win over me. It's my chance. It's my turn to win. It's my turn to get things that I want. And letting fear overrun me is not how I do that. Remind me that of when I want to do the zip line this summer, when I finally get below the weight limit. Alright, number 2 reason, or another thing of why weight loss surgery is scary. My mom is overweight. Not as much as I am. Not as much, you know, she's never been as overweight as I am. But she's been overweight my whole life. She always said that it was being pregnant with me that made her gain the weight, and then she just never lost it. So she's always been overweight. Now, she is older now and does have other issues that would keep her from having surgery unless it was an absolute emergency. But even before, when she was younger, she had a hernia. And that was a couple years ago, and the doctor didn't list heart problems or didn't list anything else other than the reason he wouldn't do surgery for her was her weight. That's the only reason he wouldn't do surgery, to fix her hernia. He sent her somewhere else. Told her she had to lose 50 to 75 pounds before he would operate on her. Now, if she were to lose that 50 to 75 pounds, which I don't think she needed to lose 75, because that would have made her in the low 120s, or at 120, or 130 or something. I can't remember what she weighed back then, but 75 pounds I think was too much for her. But anyways, if she would have lost some weight, then he would have done the surgery to fix her hernia. That was causing her pain. So, if you think about that for a second, what patients have weight loss surgery? Patients that are overweight. I know back when I first started the application process, trying to get it the first time, you had to be like 100 pounds overweight. I mean, that was like one of the criteria. You had to be a minimum of 100 pounds overweight. And I met that criteria back then. Not by a lot, but I did. And for her to only have to lose 50 to 75, well, that wouldn't have even qualified her for weight loss surgery. So, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because weight loss surgery is only done on obese patients. So it's going to make it seem riskier than it actually is, because it's only performed on people that nobody else will do surgery on. So it does make it risky, because being overweight makes surgery more risky. Now, also, there are a lot of comorbidities that go along with weight loss surgery, or weight gain, with obesity. So these comorbidities, which if you don't know what that means, but I'm sure most people that watch this video will, are problems like high cholesterol, heart problems, high blood pressure, diabetes. All of those things are comorbidities that come along with weight gain. Well, they make surgery more risky. The heavier you are, the more pressure and bad things that happen to your body, that happen to your cardiovascular system, which is your heart and your blood vessels. The heavier you are, the more workload that has, so putting you to sleep is more risky. Well, duh, it's going to seem like more patients die in weight loss surgery, because no other surgeon would do any surgery on them unless it was a life or death situation. So, of course it's going to make it more risky, because it's performed on people that are higher risk. So you hear these people say, oh, I know such and such and they died from weight loss surgery. Okay, I'm sorry for your loss. I really, truly am sorry. Because anybody that's trying to make themselves better, it saddens me for that not to work and for them to pass away from it. But at the same time, it's not going to change my mind, because I don't know your friend. I don't know what their comorbidities are or were. You may not even know what their comorbidities were. They're not going to tell you, hey, I've got really high cholesterol, or my heart's bad, or they may not tell everybody that. So I don't know what their comorbidities were. You may not know what their comorbidities were. They may not even know what their full extent of their comorbidities were. Or maybe they did, and this was their last chance to save their lives, because they couldn't get it off any other way. So yes, surgery is scary. And if you didn't have any fear, I would worry about you more than if you do have fear. Because it's natural to be afraid of things we don't understand, or we don't know what's going to happen. It's natural to be afraid of something that is risky. It's also natural to wonder, is this going to work for me? I went through that. I had that very same fear. Nothing else has ever worked. Why am I dumb enough to think I'm going to go through this surgery and this is going to work? This is finally going to help me get weight off. Nothing else has worked. Nothing else would help me. I could eat right and walk 5 days a week, and I still couldn't lose it. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm just over 3 months out, and it's working. It's a justified fear because of our past, because of everything else not helping. Weight Watchers was great for the first month, and then after that, I'd be lucky to lose 0.2 pounds a week, if I could even manage to do that. And it just, it's rational and it's irrational fear at the same time, because if you go into this with the right mindset, and you go in with it and do what your surgeon says, and you follow your plan, and you do what you're supposed to do, it's gonna work. You may not go as fast as somebody else, they may not go as fast as you, whatever, but it's gonna work. Because the doctors don't put you through this if it doesn't. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that lady on My 600 Pound Life. I watched that show. I watched it a lot before surgery. I watched them over and over again, even ones that I'd already seen before I watched again. There was a lady on there that I can't remember what she weighed, between 500 and 600 pounds. And the higher you are, the faster you lose, in the beginning at least. And she was put in the hospital for a month, I think it was. And in that time period of her in the hospital to lose weight, she lost 40 pounds. She had the same surgery that I had, vertical sleeve. They weighed her after surgery. She had gained 5 pounds. Okay, immediately after surgery, don't worry about that, because that happens to everybody. They pump you full of fluids because they know you can't drink a lot, so you get a lot of fluids in the hospital, kind of tides you over for a couple of days when you get home, so you get in the hang of things. So don't worry when you come home when you've gained weight. Don't worry, people gained up to 11, 12, 13 pounds coming home from the hospital. Don't worry. It happens. By the time I weighed, I'd only gained 1, but I'd also had diarrhea for 3 weeks. I had diarrhea after surgery for 3 weeks. So anyway, it's completely normal to do that. But through her whole rest of her year that they follow these patients, she still had that 5 pound gain. She didn't gain that after 35, but she still had that 5 pound gain. That was right before my surgery that I watched this. A month, less than 2 months before. I mean, it was pretty close. I don't know when it first aired, but when I saw it, it was, pretty close to my surgery. That scared me. That even made my fears of what if it doesn't work even worse. But as it showed what she ate, and it showed her husband bringing her milkshakes at the hospital, and her telling the doctor after surgery, okay, she's in the hospital after surgery, not before, after, telling the doctor, wow, nobody told me that I had to lose weight. Really? I mean, they can't make that up on TV. They didn't make that. They didn't like move her mouth and make somebody else talk in her voice. I couldn't believe that. So I finally realized that the reason she wasn't losing wasn't because of the surgery. It's because she was still doing the wrong things. And you have to make the commitment. It's hard, but it's worth it. And that's all I can say. I'm gonna go. This video's getting too long as it is. I'm sorry. I try to keep them short. It never works out. How other people can keep them in 3 or 4 minutes, it's beyond me. But I guess I ramble too much, like I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna eat my breakfast because I have, I brought my breakfast with me. I brought an egg, piece of turkey sausage, and an egg with like an ounce of cheese in it. So that's my breakfast, and it's getting cold, but I don't care. That's one thing you'll get used to being a WLSer, unless you get one of those things that heats your coffee, keeps your coffee or your hot chocolate or something warm when you keep your plate on that. You'll get used to eating cold food because you can't eat fast enough to eat it while it's hot like you used to. But you know what? For losing almost 150 pounds, I can eat a little cold food. I don't mind so much. Alright, I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Hopefully I'll do a video tomorrow. I'm planning on doing it tomorrow. Maybe I'll make it shorter since I've already talked today. And I will see you guys very soon and do an update. So, I love you. I'll see you soon.